Hello friends, it is Stasia and welcome back to my channel. So today we will be going over my July wrap up. It wasn't my best month and it wasn't my worst month, so that's fine. I wish I read more, but I just didn't. So it is what it is, but I did actually accumulate a lot of books. So before we get into the stats and everything that I read, we're gonna go over all of the books that I got in the month of July. July was my birthday month, so I did get a few gifted. So we'll go over those first and then we'll go over everything that I actually bought myself. I got these 3 books gifted from my friends, and I'm just gonna go ahead and let you guys watch me unbox these. So let's go watch that. I already know it's from Rylan. 1, because she told me, and 2, because she's like the only person to ever send me books, but I don't know what she got me. She said there's 2. I'm gonna look for a note anyways, even though I know what they are. She said, happy birthday, I hope you have the best day. Can't wait to give you a big hug next month. Yes, if you didn't know, Rylan is coming to visit me for the first time next month in August. So there's definitely gonna be a vlog on that, but let's see. She said for sure she knows I'm gonna love 1, but she's not sure about the second book. So the first one, okay. Of course. She got me Tangled by Laura Pavlov. Laura Pavlov's like my favorite author. If we don't know that by now, I don't know what to tell you. I think this is book 2. So this is, I believe it's book 2 in the Willow Spring series, and I'm very excited. We are reading Frayed, which is book 1 in July. For the book club, so I'm very excited that now I get to have 2. Slowly, my Laura Pavlov collection is growing. I'm very excited. Oh, it's Brother's Best Friend. That's the trope. Oh, I'm excited. I'm gonna probably read this like ASAP. I'm gonna assume that I'll probably read it right after Frayed, if we're being honest. And then I'm assuming that's the one that she said she knows that I'm gonna love, because we know my love for Laura Pavlov. But the second one is, oh, interesting. Okay, so the second one is The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros, and I actually just added this to my wish list. I don't know a lot about it, if I'm being honest, but this is the author who wrote Fourth Wing, which I really loved, and this is supposed to be like, she also writes romance. So I'm trying to, I added her romance because I heard that they're really good and super sad. I don't actually know much about what this specific one is about. Oh, it has, oh, see this, I just add things to my wish list. It is military trope. Someone is in the army and that's all I know. This is actually a bigger book than I thought it was going to be. Oh goodness, the font is really small. Oh no, the font isn't that small. It's just the like preview to Fourth Wing. That font is small, but that doesn't matter because I already read Fourth Wing. So I'm excited. I have no clue what it's about, but I'm excited to give her romance a try. And I heard that she makes you cry. I might do a part 2 of like sad books trying to make me cry and include this one because I want to cry, and I heard she's sad, and I already know that I like her writing style. So these are the 2 books that I got from my bestie Rylan. Very excited for both of them. This one I know I'm gonna love. There's like absolutely no way I'm not going to love it, but I've heard amazing things about this one as well, so I'm very excited for both. I did get book mail. I know who it's from only because she literally texted me and asked if I had mail. So this is from my friend Angelica. I don't know what the book is. I'm searching for a note. Probably just gonna say happy birthday. Happy birthday, bestie. I hope you have a super sparkly day. That's an inside joke for us. I wish you I could be there to celebrate, but we'll celebrate together soon. Okay, so this is what she got me. Okay, so she got me the playlist by Morgan Elizabeth. I actually don't know like too much about what it's about, but I heard it's spicy. Brother's best friend, dual point of view, and like every single chapter is a Taylor Swift song. That's what I've heard. I heard there's a lot of like Taylor Swift references here. So I'm actually super excited. Oh, and it has a bucket list. That's so fun, and everything on the bucket list is like in relation to a Taylor Swift song. So it's a spicy childhood friends to lovers romance. But on the back it said, it's my best friend's brother. So it's always been, so those are the tropes. Best friend's brother, it's always been you, road trip, one bed, and it's spicy. But yeah, so here's my book mail. All right, so as you've seen, the 3 books that I got were The Playlist by Morgan Elizabeth, The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros, and Tangled by Laura Pavlov. And then the one other book I was gifted by the publisher in July was The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. I've read one. I believe I've only read one Mariana Zapata, but I really, really loved it. So I am looking forward to having this one and hopefully reading it soon. So those were all of the books that I got gifted. Now on to all of the books that I bought myself, because July was just hectic and I just couldn't resist. So the first thing I got was my book of the month box. I will say technically in this box, even though I got 3 books, I technically only paid for 1 in the month of July because I had a credit sitting there already from a couple months ago. And I got a free book for my birthday. So I will say that. But the books that I got were The Only One Left by Riley Sager. No clue what it's about, but I do plan on doing a reading vlog for this, like I did with his other book, so that we can see my current ranking and then read this and then re-rank to see where this falls on my list for him, since I have read all of his books. Then I got Dark Corners by Megan Golden. No clue what this is about, but this author wrote, what did she write? Oh, The Night Swim, which I really, really loved. So I am looking forward to this. It says that it is a search for a popular influencer who disappears after visiting a suspected serial killer. So interesting. And then the last book I got in my book of the month box was Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This is her 3rd STEM novel. I loved The Love Hypothesis. I have yet to read Love on the Brain, but we'll get to it. But yes, so this is also the September book club pick for the Mending Hearts book club. So I'm looking forward to reading that soon. Then another book I got was The Fiancé Farce by Alexandra Bellefleur. I'm not sure how you say that, but yeah, so I got this for a specific reason that will be known soon. But this is a female romance, and that's about all I know. I read her other book, Written in the Stars, and really loved it, so looking forward to this one. Then I got the hardcover version of Promises and Pomegranates by Sab R. Miller. Someone in my community was selling it for like $5 or something. So I had to pick it up, right? I mean, it's the hardcover, and it was so cheap. I don't remember exactly what I paid for it, but it was so cheap that I had to get it, and Rylan really loved it. So I'm excited, but now I'm also sad because since I got the first one in hardcover, I'm going to need to eventually get the rest of the series in hardcover. I don't have any of the other books, but yes, so this will be read at some point. And then the last 2 books that I got for myself were Evermine and Make You Mine by Laura Pavlov. This is book 2 and 3 in the Honey Mountain series. I love this series. I've already read it, so technically it's good because these don't go on my TBR. These are already technically read, but I am working on collecting all of Laura Pavlov's books. So when I seen these for a pretty good price on Pango, I decided to go ahead and snatch it up because I don't see Laura Pavlov books on there a lot. So I was excited to get these. So now I just need books 4 and 5 in the Honey Mountain series, and then I'm planning on doing a reread where I can like tab and annotate it since I love this series so much. But yeah, so those are all of the books that I accumulated in the month of July. It's a lot and I'm embarrassed, but it's fine. But those were all the books. Some of them were added to my TBR, some of them were not. Some I have plans to read, and some will probably just sit there for a little bit. But it's okay. That's the haul. Now we'll get into the wrap-up portion. First and foremost, the amount of books I read. So I read 10 books, and that came out to a total of 3,189 pages, which, like I said, is not bad. For my formats, I read 3 physical, 5 ebooks, and then 2 audiobooks. And my genres were 8 romance and 2 fantasy. Don't expect much from the fantasy. I picked them up by choice, but like there was also a reason I picked them up, so we'll get to that. So as per usual, we're gonna go through these in the order in which I read them. There's a couple vlogs that need to be mentioned, but yeah, so overall I'm going to just show you guys the book, give you guys the rating, a little bit of a synopsis, and some quick thoughts if it doesn't have a vlog for it. So first and foremost, we have Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I gave this book 5 stars. It does have a reading vlog attached to it because I did a little read-along sort of thing last month where it was 24 hours with the Birthday Girl. The weekend before my birthday, I just did a 24-hour reading vlog or read-along, whatever, of Birthday Girl. And I actually finished it in like less than 15 or like around 15 hours or something. And that's including breaks. So that was very successful. But this book basically follows Jordan and Pike. Jordan is currently dating Cole, and they're kind of struggling for cash. So they end up needing to move in with Cole's dad, which is Pike. But Jordan and Pike have had like a little like meet cute sort of run-in, so they're not super familiar, but they are aware of each other, and they acknowledged, or like they know that they had a connection. Yeah, we basically follow Jordan and Pike as they kind of try to figure that out. I really don't know any other way to say this without spoiling anything. So that's basically what this book is. I'm not gonna give you guys any of my thoughts because there is a full-blown reading vlog just for this book, so I'll leave that above and below if you do want to check it out. The next book that I read was Meet Your Match by Candy Steiner. This is a sports romance. I gave this 5 stars. So this follows Vince and Maven. Vince is he is a rookie hockey player, and Maven is like a social media manager or something. I don't know. She creates content though. Anyways, Vince and Maven are very much different people. They grew up in different ways. And the instant that Maven meets Vince, she's not really a fan because she knows that he's rich, he has all the money, this, that, and the other. But that is a very like misunderstood first impression. But she kind of just takes it and runs with it. She expects to never see him again, but when she goes into work the next day, her boss comes in and says that Vince's hockey team, I don't actually remember what they're called, but Vince's hockey team has reached out and want to give Maven a 24-hour all-inclusive like special for Vince's hockey season. So things get messy with the forced proximity. There's obviously the attraction, but Maven is definitely like not super interested in what's going on until she realizes that, hey, maybe there's more to this guy than meets the eye. But obviously it's also against the rules because they're basically working together. So that's basically what happened. But like I said, I gave this 5 stars. I really loved Vince. He did have sort of the like a-hole vibe, not really, because it's more like a confident sort of thing, but he did have that going for him. And Maven is very much just stuck in her ways. She doesn't know much. She knows how she grew up, and that's how she views the world. So it takes a lot for Maven to kind of trust Vince, but once they start getting the ball rolling, it's honestly just so much fun, and I really enjoyed them. I thought that their banter was hilarious. I love seeing Vince with the team. I loved seeing Maven slowly open up and how understanding Vince was of Maven. But yeah, so overall, really enjoyed it. Gave it 5 stars. I definitely can't wait for more in the series. I believe the second book is coming out in October, so that's very exciting. The next book I read was one of the fantasy books. And I'm kind of just I'm gonna go through them, like both the fantasy books right now, even though I read the other fantasy book later in the month, but it's gonna make sense. So basically, I read Red Queen and Glass Sword. I read these for Ryland's read-along. She's rereading, but this is my first time ever reading it. So Red Queen I gave 4 stars, and Glass Sword I gave 3 stars. So this world basically follows, what is her name? Mare. So her name is Mare, and she is in this world where there's basically a divide based on like the color of blood that they have. They either have red blood or silver blood. Silver blood have like these different abilities. So Mare is a red blood, and she gets roped into working at the castle, which is not something that she did before, but she gets roped into working at the castle, always surrounded by silver bloods, but some secrets come out and Mare is not who she thought she was. And that's pretty much the plot of the story. So I gave Red Queen 4 stars. I actually thought it was super interesting, super engaging. I loved the entire like setup and how we got to know our different people between the red and the silvers, and I just thought it was really interesting. I will say that the ending and like the big plot twist truly did catch me off guard. I did not see it coming like at all, so that was very interesting and fun to see. But yeah, so overall, I mean, it was fine. There were some parts that were a bit slow because they needed to obviously like introduce the world and all of that, but all in all, I did enjoy it. And then I also read Glass Sword in July. This is the second book, and I gave this book 3 stars. I just felt like this book didn't give me much. I felt like the ending was not necessarily rushed, but a lot of things just happened in the ending, whereas like the first like 75% were kind of just building up and waiting for this big thing to happen. So I was very bored. These were also the 2 books that I did on audio, although I did obviously have them physically. It did help me to have the audiobook as well. And yeah, we did get more characters in this book, so that was also interesting, but I just wanted more from like the beginning half of the book, because by the time we got to all the action, I was kind of just like bored and over it. But I'm excited to continue with the series. I'll be reading, I believe, book 3 in August. I'm not sure if book 4 is also being read in August, but definitely book 3. So excited to continue. This was definitely just like a second book syndrome sort of thing, where they were just trying to build the gap between what happens in book 1 and how to get to like the next adventure sort of thing. But it was fine. Gave it 3 stars. Then the next book I read was My Singleversary by Lauren Blakely. I gave this book 4 stars. This basically follows our characters, Caleb and Skylar. This was a short book, so it was like a little bit of a novella. But basically, Skylar goes to Hawaii, I believe that's where she goes, to kind of celebrate being single for a year by choice. She deleted all the apps. She didn't want to go on dates. So she celebrated putting basically like herself first for a year by doing like a little singleversary vacation sort of vibe. And while she's there, she runs into Caleb, who is the owner of like the company she booked with the like all-inclusive thing. So she runs into him. When she first gets there, she's definitely like, I'm still in my single girl era, I'm not gonna fall for it. But Caleb is like, hey, like, why don't we just have a little fun, no strings attached sort of vibe. So eventually Skylar does give in, but like I said, I gave it 4 stars. It was a novella. It was enjoyable, probably more of like a 3.5 now that I think about it, but that's fine. Caleb and Skylar were who they were. I didn't feel like I missed out too much on the plot because it was like a little vacation. So the before and after like wasn't super important to me, and I think that's why I gave it a higher rating than I usually do for novellas. I mean, Caleb was sweet. Skylar was funny, and they did have decent communication. Their like conflict, they talked through it really well, which is something that I really loved, how that was well done in this book. But yeah, I mean, it's a novella, so there's really not much to say. That's basically like what happened, but I enjoyed it. It is what it is. It was just a fun little quick read that I enjoyed. But the next book I read was Frayed by Laura Pavlov. This was the July Mending Hearts book club pick, so this does have a full-blown vlog for it, but I did tab and annotate it. So this follows Addie and Jet. Addie and Jet have known each other since they were in like kindergarten or second grade or something, because they live in this small town. But it is currently their senior year and things kind of take a turn. For the past few years, Addie had been with her boyfriend, but they separated recently due to a situation, and she starts to grow closer to Jet, and she realizes that although he's not like the most popular guy in school, he does have a lot of layers, and she's very like interested in getting to know him. So we basically follow their story, and yeah, so I gave it 4 stars, 3.75, somewhere around there. So if you would like to know my personal thoughts, you can go ahead and watch my vlog. I'll leave it above and below for you. The next book I read was Yours to Hold by Emily Silver, and this was a small town single dad nanny brother's best friend sort of vibe. I give this book 5 stars. I actually really enjoyed it. So this follows our main characters, Mason and Ivy. Mason has a daughter named Willow. Ivy is Mason's sister's best friend. She's in town for just a little bit longer because she's about to start like a new job or something in a big city a few hours away. So Mason finally admits that he needs help with Willow because he's a single dad, and he also is running like a bar with his brother, I believe. So he admits that he needs help with Willow so that she could have some sort of stability, and Ivy offers her services. She's like, hey, like I could be a nanny, like I already know you, I love Willow, she's the best, you know, things like that. So he's like, fine, all right, you can do it. Little did they know that they both had like an attraction brewing for each other for a while. Eventually one of them slips up, and when they propose the idea of this just being a summer fling, they both quickly realize that it can't just be a summer thing. So I give it 5 stars. I really loved it. Ivy's relationship with Willow was so cute, and also the way that Mason was with Willow. Like I know that's his daughter, but it's also like so fun seeing the guy who's like always grumpy and in a bad mood with everyone, and seeing how they interact with the kids. I just loved it so much. There was a 3rd act breakup, but I kind of seen that conflict coming based on like how the characters are and like their history and things. So I wasn't too surprised when that showed up, and I actually liked how quickly it was resolved and how their happily ever after came about. So I don't have too many issues with how that was handled. I just loved the whole forbidden aspect of it. I loved seeing the relationships developed. I love seeing both characters slowly open up to each other and realize that there's more to the other person than they thought, even though they basically knew each other for like years and years, because Ivy has always been best friends with Mason's sister. So overall it was really fun. Gave it 5 stars. I definitely enjoyed my time with it. The next book I read was On the Shore by Laura Pavlov. This is the 3rd book in the Cottonwood Cove series, and this was a NFL player and a journalist sort of vibe. So this follows Lincoln and Brinkley. Brinkley gets fired from her job, so she's back in the small town for a bit until she gets back on her feet. Lincoln is trying to take a break from all of the lights and cameras of being in the NFL. He's a very like great player, whatever. So he's trying to take a little break from that and ends up at his agent's like vacation home in Cottonwood Cove. And when they bump into each other, they hate each other. because Lincoln was actually the one responsible for firing or getting Brinkley fired from her last job, and Lincoln thinks that just the same as every other journalist who will do anything for the story. So from it off the bat, they definitely are not the best of friends. Eventually, they start to open up because they start working together when Lincoln promises that Brinkley can be the one to break a huge story on him because he's not typically the guy who talks to journalists. So they slowly get to know each other. They have like a rule, I believe, where Brinkley can only ask Lincoln 3 questions a day. So obviously that like makes the time period longer in how she's trying to get this story out of him. But overall, I loved it. Their banter was really, really fun. Lincoln had a more complex story than I expected, and Brinkley obviously has like her own stuff that she's dealing with. But I love seeing their like hate and dislike soften for each other, and how they slowly became the person that the other person wanted to go to for whatever they needed to do. And yeah, so overall I really, really enjoyed it. No third act breakup because Laura Pavlov does not do that, which is great. But I love Lincoln, I love Brinkley. It was overall a very fun time. And I loved seeing Brinkley with her siblings. I think that's one of my favorite parts about the Cottonwood Cove series, is that the 5 siblings that the books are going to be about, they have like a running group text, and it's so hilarious. So I love seeing how they kind of like poke fun at Brinkley because she's not like big on commitment or anything, but Lincoln kind of like forces her to make a decision. So overall, it was a fun time. And yeah. Alright, the second to the last book I read was Right Guy, Wrong Time by Jewel E. Ann. I gave this book 2.5. It wasn't really for me. This book follows our characters, Anna and Eric. So Anna runs a book club in the building that she lives in. Eric just recently moved in, and they run into each other. There's like an instant attraction. She invites him to the book club. He ends up going, but the book that Anna chose for the book club is one of her favorite books. She loves the book. It has very personal ties to her, but Eric doesn't like it. And he's not shy about like expressing that. So Anna finds it very hard to move on from the comments that Eric makes, and that's basically what the story is. The story follows the back and forth between Anna and Eric and whether or not they will continue whatever. So yeah, I gave it 2.5 stars mainly because I just found it very boring. It was very repetitive. It was always like, I'm into you, but never mind. And it was just like the constant push and pull, and I didn't see the point in it. I also thought that Anna, although I understood her reasoning for everything that was happening and everything that she was thinking, I felt like Anna took everything to the next level, and a lot of things could have been resolved if there were conversations, but there weren't. So some points were funny, sometimes I was like swooning. It was just the character development took too long for me, even though they were adults. So I was kind of just like, not for me, but that's okay. And then the last book I read was Say You'll Be My Lady by Kate Pembroke. This is in a vlog, but the vlog is not out yet, so I'm not going to tell you my thoughts. I'm hoping it'll come out at the ending of August, beginning of September, but we'll need to see. But I also gave this book 2.5 stars. This basically follows Serena and Charles. Serena is very involved in society. She's a part of like this club with a bunch of other women where they kind of just like choose a like group of people to help or whatever it's called. Yeah, so they choose a lot of different charities and stuff. So when Serena is hunting for her new charity, Charles comes back into town, and he instantly is very protective of Serena because Serena kind of just runs herself into trouble if she thinks that the end game is worth it. And yeah, so they basically just follow the story of her with this new charity sort of thing she has going on, and Charles trying to deny his feelings for her. It's a very like slow burn, very slow burn. By the time we got to the end, I was like, this could have gone faster. But yeah, so this is very much a slow burn of them just trying to realize like if they can take it to the next step, because although Serena is also interested in Charles, Charles doesn't have like the title that he thinks is necessary to pursue Serena. So that's basically like his main conflict, is he doesn't think that he's worthy of her and all of this stuff. But yeah, so gave it 2.5 stars. My official thoughts will come later in a vlog whenever that comes out, but it just wasn't my favorite. A bit too slow burn for me. But alright, so that is all of the books I acquired and books that I read in the month of July. That is it from me. You can let me know how your July reading went. I'm hoping August will be great, but I'm also not sure because I'm trying to prioritize physical books in August, so we'll see how fast I can read. And Rylan is also coming to visit me in August, so look out for videos of us together, probably later in the month. But yeah, so that is all from me. You can like, comment, and subscribe down below if you'd like. All of my socials, follow me anywhere else, and everything that's mentioned will be in the description. But that is all. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!